Hello, so today we are going to be doing some conversions. We are going to be converting 11,011 to the subscript of 2 to a decimal number. So we have our positions in binary. So we have 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 on the top, and then 1, 1, 0, 1 on the bottom. So we're going to find the value. So we have 1 times 2 to the 4th power plus 1 times 2 to the 3rd power plus 0 times 2 to the 2nd power, and then we're going to add 1 plus, plus 1 times 2 to the 1st power plus 1 times 2 to the 0 power. So I'm going to erase this real quick, and then what we're wondering is what if those powers of 2. So we are going to compute each power of 2. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a little kind of like chart thing here. So we're going to do 2 to the power of 0 equals 1, 2 to the power of 1 equals 2, 2 to the power of 2 is going to equal 4, 2 to the power of 3 is going to equal 8, and then 2 to the power of 4, that looks like a 24. Hold on. Oh, and I messed it up too. Hold on, we're going to erase that real quick. And it's going to be 2 to the power of 4 that equals 16. So if you were wondering, now the next step is going to be multiplying each bit by its place value. So let me erase this real quick. Hold on one second. So we're going to multiply each bit by its place value, like I said. So the first number we're going to do is 1 times 2 to the power of 4, which is going to equal 1 times 16, which is going to equal 16. I'm sorry, I didn't circles and the little x for the multiplication part. That might be a little bit confusing, and I'm sorry about that. But then we're going to do 1 times 2 to the power of 3, which is 8 times 1, which equals 8. And then we're going to have 0 times 2 to the power of 2, which is going to equal 0 times 4, which equals 0, of course. And then we're going to have 1 times 2 to the power of 1, which equals 1 times 2, that equals 2. And then lastly, we're going to do 1 times 2 to the power of 0, which is going to equal 1 times 1, which equals 1. And now we are going to add those products together one step at a time. Let me erase my board again. And so now we're going to add very carefully digit by digit. So we are going to do 16 plus 18, which will equal 24. And then 24 plus 0, which will equal 24. And then 24 plus 2, which equals 26. And then 26 plus 1, which equals 27. That would actually bring our final decimal to 27. That's what our end product ended up being. So 27, like I said. And then we are also going to do the standard notation. It's going to be a little long and I'm going to run out of space. I already know it. But bear with me. So we have 11,011 to the power of 2, and that's what we're going to be doing as standard notation. Hold on one second while I write this out. So like I said, 11,000 to the subscript of 2. I think I said power of 2 earlier. I apologize. So we are going to have 1 times 2 to the power of 4 plus 1 times 2 to the power of 3 plus 0 times 2 to the power of 2 plus 1 times 2 to the power of 1 plus 1 times 2 to the power of 0, which is going to equal 18 plus 8 plus 0 plus 2 plus 1, which equals 27. That's a Z, and I'm sorry, let me fix that. 27. And that's how you are going to convert 11,000 to the power of 11,011 to the subscriptive 2 to a decimal number. I hope that you understood everything. It's all good. So let's move to our next problem. So for our next problem, we're going to be doing 99 plus 37. You're going to have to bear with me because the writing tool is very, very slow. And it's very laggy, but we're going to start off. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tens, 6 tens, which is 60, 70, 80, and then 90. And then we're going to count our ones. So I kind of preemptively did some of those. I'm just counting over to make sure that we have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then we need 6, 7, 8, 9. And that brings us to 99. And then we need to go over to our 37. So we already had 20, so we added another 10. That brings us to 30. And then we have 5 ones, so that means we have to add 2 more ones for us to get that 37 to solve our problem. Now we are going to be adding them. So I am just making sure that I have all of my ones. And I am not sure what just happened. Looks like I lost one of my ones. Hold on. I don't know what is happening. I had 9, and now I have a different number. Hold on one second while I figure this out. So now we have the 9, and I'm going to bring one of the ones from the 37 to our 99, which brings that to a full 10. So that means that we can complete our base 10 block and go from a 90 to 100. And that is because we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and then we're going to have the additional 10 that we are adding from our extra number that we had to pull over, and that is now 100. And you can see there that it fits our base 10 block. And now we are gonna give ourselves some more space over here. So now we have our 100, and then 10, 20, 30 from our remainder that we had, and then we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, we moved over that one, and then that brought it over. So now we have our equation, which is going to be 99 plus 37. It's going to say t here. I'm not sure why. It just is not being my friend today. But that brings the total to 136, and that's how we represent this equation with our blocks. Okay, so for our next problem, we are going to be going over this one right here. It's a kind of a tricky survey problem with sports. So we have football, hockey, and basketball. So instead of trying to juggle all these in our head, we're going to be using a Venn diagram. A Venn diagram is a picture with overlapping circles that helps us see what belongs in each group. So in a survey of 500 students of college, it was found that 49% liked watching football, 53% liked watching hockey, and 62% liked watching basketball. Also 27% liked to watch football and both hockey, 29% liked watching basketball and hockey both, and 28% liked watching football and basketball both. 5% liked watching none of these games. So we're going to be going over these problems here. I have them labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. So here is our Venn diagram. So we have on our top left, we have football, on our top left, right, hockey, and at the bottom over there we have basketball. So we're going to be going over our first question. How many students liked watching all 3 games? So the survey says that 49% like football, 53% like hockey, 62% like basketball. It gives us the pair that overlaps 27% football and hockey, 29% hockey and basketball, 28% football. I'm sorry, and yeah, football and basketball. Finally, it says that 5% likes none. So what does that mean? That means that 95% of 500 students like at least one sport, which is equal to 475 students. So we need to start with all three groups. So what is that total there? So we have our formula here. Total with at least one, we have football plus hockey plus basketball minus the pair that overlaps plus all three. So what are we going to do? We have to remember all of our numbers. So we are going to do our total 475 equals 245 plus 265 plus 310 minus, in parentheses, we have 135 plus 145 plus 140 plus x. And we just got that by using our percentages and from our total. So after we solve this equation here, we have to solve for x. We already know how to do that, so I'm going to skip over that for you. And it gives us a total of 75. So 75 is our total of students that like all three sports. So we're going to write 75 in the very center of our little Venn diagram here. 75, maybe if I can write correctly. So now that we know that, we are going to try to find the students who like exactly two sports. That's going to be our second question here. So we need to find the students who like exactly two sports and subtract the triple from the pairs. So we have football, which we are going to be representing as F. So it'll be a little bit easier to kind of keep up. And then we have hockey, which we're going to represent by H. And so we have, those are the only, and so we have 135 minus 75, which is going to equal 60. And then we have H, which is going to be represented by hockey, of course, like we see above, plus basketball, which we will represent with a B. This will be the only again. We have 145. Sorry, we're going to have 145 minus 75, which will equal 70. And then we are going to go to football, which is going to be F, of course, plus our basketball, and this will be them only. So that is going to be 140, maybe, hold on, 140 minus that 75, which is going to equal 65. So now that we have these three numbers, we can go and put these in our Venn diagram to make it a little bit easier for ourselves to kind of keep up with what we're doing here. So we have our 60, our 70, and our 65. And so that means that we can go ahead and try to get that ratio here. So we are going to take our number, 245, and we are going to subtract, let's look there, hold on one second, our 60 and our 65. And our 75. Maybe that's our 7 for real. And that is going to equal 45. So we have our 45, and that is going to be for our football only. But that means now we have our 45 and our 60. So now, since this is our ratio, we can make that smaller, a smaller ratio. So we're going to divide each side by 5, and that's going to give us 3/4. And that is going to be our ratio. And we're going to put that there. We forgot to put our answer choice up there, so we're going to put 75 because we know that's our total. And then we have 3.4. So now we're going to try to find our number for hockey. So first thing we're going to do is get that off my screen. And so we have a total for hockey of 265. And we have for our football and our hockey is going to bring us a total of 135. Hockey and basketball is going to be 145. But our triple is 75. That's going to be our number in the middle of the Venn diagram. So if we actually go ahead and subtract both, we subtract that triple twice to fix it, we must add it back once. I meant to erase that. Hold on. So let's give ourselves some more space so we can rewrite this a little bit better. So we have the 265 minus 135 minus 145 plus the 75. This is going to equal 265 minus 280 plus that 75, which is going to get us to equal 60. So that means that 60 students like hockey, or only hockey, so we are going to put that on our Venn diagram. So let's make ourselves some space, and now we are going to go figure out our only basketball. I'm sorry, I kind of clipped out basketball a little bit and wrote up too low, but let's figure out our basketball. And again, with this, it's getting on my nerves, but hold on, let's go. So our total for basketball is actually going to come out to 310. So we want to make sure that we write that real quick. So for only basketball, which is what we want, we need to know kind of our little breakdown here. So we have basketball and hockey, which is going to equal 145. And then basketball and football is going to equal 140. And our triple, of course, is going to be 75. And it's going to be counted in both overlaps. So that means that to get the only basketball, we are going to have to take 310 minus 145 minus 140 plus that 75. And that is going to get us to equal 310 minus 285 plus 75, which is going to equal 100. So we're going to go back and put that 100 there. And so now we have that part of our problem. So now we're going to be doing our last problem. And this is going to be who likes watching at least 2 of the given games. So we're going to take our only football, which is going to be 45, only hockey, which is 60, and only basketball, which is 100, which brought the total to 205, of course. So that's how many students like exactly one sport. So we need to know what equals 2 sports. And also, we also need to know who likes 3 sports. So for football and hockey, we are going to first write this, and this is going to be 135 minus 75, which is going to equal 60. And then for hockey and basketball only, we are going to have 145 minus 75, which is going to equal 70, of course. And then we have football and basketball only, which is going to be 140 minus 75. That's going to equal our 65. So in total, exactly 2 sports is going to equal 195. So now we are going to add in our all 3 sports group, which is going to be 75, of course. That's the middle of our Venn diagram. That is our center. So we know that. So at least 2 of them, we're going to do 195 plus 75, which is going to equal that 270. And we know that because our total is 475. So that means that if we actually add 205 plus 270, which is those two numbers of reduced gains, is going to equal 475, which is our total. And that means that that answer is 270. And this is our completed Venn diagram. And that completes our questions because now we know who likes at least two sports. Thank you for watching. Bye.